up, everybody? Welcome into the final Tom Curran's Patriots Talk Podcast of the week. So you hear Drake Maye talking and well-crafted questions as you waited him out about Josh McDaniels and what he'll bring, and the fact that he's already eyeballs deep studying how the McDaniels offense works and how Tom Brady ran it. Is that one of the main things that you learned this week as we get ready to lift off from New Orleans?
It is, and I just found that part of the conversation interesting. You know, it's almost like he couldn't help himself last year to go find some Tom Brady film. And just, you know, when you have that at your disposal and you're a young quarterback, you kind of drift towards, you know, maybe get a little bored of the whatever you're supposed to be looking at in a given week, and you start watching Tom Brady. And so he's already seen, you know, what does Brady look like in practice? What did maybe this play call, that play call? And that is an interesting thing I would add to the Drake Maye commentary there. Two nuggets after talking to a longtime Patriots assistant coach earlier today, which is this. Number one, having that film at his disposal is not only kind of fun for him, but it's really important right now because he can't talk to Josh McDaniels at length about football topics. They can talk and say hi and introduce themselves and what have you, but Josh McDaniels isn't going over their protection plan against cover zero on third down. He can go back through all of the Patriots' library of films and pull up plays of Tom Brady and not only see what the play looks like, but see the play call. That thing will also be listed there. And so he'll be able to familiarize, easy for me to say, holy smokes, it's been a long week, himself with the verbiage associated with Josh McDaniels' offense and give himself a little bit of a head start as far as all of that stuff goes before he really gets into the weeds with McDaniels himself.
Speaking of McDaniels himself, Tom Pelissero from NFL Media joined Phil as well earlier this week on the Next Pats podcast. Make sure you catch up on all of those as well. But here's Pelissero talking at length about Josh McDaniels. Kind of drops a few nuggets in this conversation that we might not necessarily have known, or at least were public. Here it is.
I know that Josh McDaniels was somebody that from ownership level, they really wanted to get re-involved in the program a year ago. They might have been willing to have Josh McDaniels in at that point, but obviously he was still fresh off the Raiders situation. I think that, you know, bringing him back in now with a guy that he respects in Mike Vrabel, you know, makes a lot of sense, even the geography of where Josh was living aside.
Sure.
Josh has a proven track record. They believe in him. He does have a good track record working with quarterbacks. So I thought that was the least surprising, I think, of anything they did on staff.
I think one of the most tired conversations I've heard revolving around Josh McDaniels that has existed throughout this offseason is the notion that, hey, he's old, used up, and everybody's done that before. Why aren't the Patriots bringing in more outside people? They're just hiring him because Robert Kraft said to hire him. Blissfully ignoring the fact that the guy coached in 9 friggin' Super Bowls, won 6 of them, has had innumerable iterations of different offenses, and coached quarterbacks of every stripe. Sucky, not sucky, great, the best to ever play. And he's been good at it. So to me, I'm backing him with unburdening myself of all these grievances and saying, I don't give a shit if the Patriots wanted to hire him last year. I don't give a shit how much the Krafts influenced the hiring this year. The bottom line is they got the right guy.
I feel the same way you do. And pretty much everybody that we have spoken to this week, some really smart NFL minds, feel the same way. I do think it is completely fair to wonder and just see, not how McDaniels is necessarily going to perform with Maye, although that obviously will be critical, but how McDaniels and the rest of that offensive staff works together, because we haven't seen it. And so it's going to be difficult, especially early, for those guys to all get onto the same page. And you hope, as the season goes along, it gets easier and easier, although I would add this, the season itself and how it goes this year, in all likelihood, is not going to be great, just given the talent on the roster. We'll see, barring a Commanders-style type of turnaround. And so you could experience some hard times now as you're just getting used to each other. Maybe you win a few games early and it feels a little bit better, but how does it go then with a bunch of coaches that you've never worked before if you're in the middle of a 3-game losing streak, for instance, Tom, and you have a lot of guys who have strongly held opinions and a lot of guys who have called plays in this league on that offensive staff? All of that stuff, I think, is completely fair to question while also acknowledging Josh McDaniels' accomplishments speak for themselves, and he probably was the best hire they could have made for that job.
This is interesting because it occurs to me that one of the things that I pointed out frequently with Bill Belichick while the team was successful, and then when they lost their success, is everybody was homegrown. Nobody came with their own ideas. Bill Belichick took them up as empty vessels, poured all his knowledge into them, not just in how to coach football, but all philosophies of football, so that when they got plugged in, he didn't have to deal with a bunch of different ideas. For instance, 3-game losing streak. The offensive line isn't performing well. Josh says to Mike Vrabel, offensive line sucks right now. Is there anything that Doug can do to ... Well, Doug, in turn, Marrone, has been a head coach in the past, and a successful one. Does he at some point go, geez, we talked about this. I know what I'm doing over here. Elliott or Ryan Cowden hasn't gotten me the right guys here. And then Mike says, well, I don't know, that was Elliott's department over there at the left tackle thing. We figured we give him one more shot at it. So, that is, to me, it's when the adversity hits. Right now, as I think Vrabel said himself, it's when your nose is bleeding that it matters.
Yeah, they're undefeated right now, right? They haven't lost yet. So why would there be, other than the get-to-know-you sorts of obstacles, why would it be hard? It's probably kind of nice. A bunch of guys getting to be friends. It's just there is going to be adversity just given the state of the roster and how the team is, in my opinion, expected to play this coming year. This
was a conversation that we had with Diana Rossini, which was maybe our most fun interview, though we had some fun ones this week. The Patriots went 4-13 in their bottoming out season with Bill Belichick. They already realized that they might be somewhat shitty again in 2024, and they were. But there's nothing there that showed signs of improvement anywhere on the roster except for the one position where they got a player. So they're basically back where they were at the beginning of last offseason. They're spending 2 years in the valley before they start to climb out. And I think it's hard for Patriots fans to realize that even though you have Drake Maye and there's enthusiasm spawned by his presence and who they might be able to draw in because of Vrabel and McDaniels, this could be another season, despite the fact we're all going to say 7 or 8 wins because of a shitty schedule. This could be another season where there's less than 6 wins and a bad team.
It definitely could be that. I would say this, though. If you're in charge of the players on this roster, and to me, Mike Vrabel's at the top of that list, you got to do everything within your power to make sure that doesn't happen. And you could excuse it away by saying, well, no, we're building for 3 and 4 and 5 years down the line. Nope. It doesn't mean go crazy and spend a ridiculous sum of money on guys that are going to be here for 2 years, and then you're going to be back where you are now 2 years from now. But you have to show some urgency, Tom, to improve this roster. It is not okay to be sub-6 wins, again, in my opinion, even though it's everybody's first year and the quarterback's still young and you still need to add pieces around. Go ahead and add those pieces now. You've got the resources to do it.
That's why it's a double-edged sword, because when Mike talked to Zach Rosenblatt, again, another guy we had as a guest, writer for The Athletic, one of the things that Mike said to Zach Rosenblatt was, when I talk to the owner, I want to hear his realistic expectations about what his vision is for what we can do in the short term and the long term. Does Robert Kraft think the team is in a position where it already took its mulligan and now this one has to be split in the fairway? He should be, but it was so bad last year that I don't know if they have confidence striding to the tee.
Expectations are so easy to articulate in January and February. They're a lot harder to keep and hold to when it's December the following season and the fan base is revolting. We just saw that happen. So whatever Robert, and I don't necessarily blame him. He says he's a fan. He's got fan sensibilities. Whatever Mike Vrabel's hearing from ownership right now, I'm not sure that he should expect for that to hold if it goes down the tubes again in 2025.
All right. You know who's not going down the tubes? Me and Phil in 2025. We're going to have a tremendous season together. We're going to chronicle everything that has to be chronicled about the New England Patriots. Phil's going to be on the draft. I'm going to be on the golf course, and we are going to have a great year. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We got 2 Kyles here from the Baltimore Raven. Former Quick Slants co-host Kyle Van Noy and Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, one of the best young and most versatile defenders in the National Football League. I am a big fan, so I'm really happy to see you.
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You know what we really haven't done a lot this week, Kyle?
What?
Talk football.
Let's go.
Will you tell me what I should be looking for in this matchup and which team you think has the edge?
Man, edge, I don't know if anyone has an edge. I think these two teams match up very well. I'm going with the Eagles because I think they can slow down Mahomes a little bit more than the Chiefs can slow down Saquon and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
I look at the ground game, and you play safety, you play everywhere, but playing at the back end of the defense and also on the edge. I kind of think if Buffalo had stuck with the ground game in their matchup against Kansas City, they might be here right now. So if you're going to go against Kansas City and you have a ground game, pound it. Do you like that?
It's going to be a great game. I don't really know who has the edge. I think at the end of the day, it's kind of hard not to think Mahomes gets it done in these kind of games. Like he's shown it, so you got to have that respect. But the Eagles, I will say, they're one of, if not the best team we played this year. So,
have you thought of a score yet? Like when a score comes to mind, you too. After
I got a big one.
I got 26, random number, 26-21 Chiefs.
Chiefs, you?
I got 27-24 Eagles.
I have 38-30 Eagles. It's going way up top.
Let's go.
Way up top.
No defense
you think
on
so?
either side.
What's these teams? Well, you played in Super Bowls. You know how they go. They get
freaky. I'd say get freaky. I mean, you'll see a special teams missed PAT block field goal. You'll see a punt return.
Yeah, that's why I threw the 26 in there.
You're going to see something crazy. Yeah. I can feel it. Especially
Now,
in New Orleans. Come on.
It's witchcraft, everything. Hey, Kyle Hamilton, you obviously, as two guys who are spending time together, and two guys who play, at least in terms of versatility, the things that he did as a pass rusher, as a guy who could drop, as a guy who could stop the run, rush the pass, with the versatility. Do you look at Kyle Van Noy as a touchstone for not just how to play the game? What? Shut up. As a versatile guy, but he has played for Detroit, New England, Chargers, and now Baltimore. I mean, he's seen some things.
Yeah, I don't think it should go unnoticed, his success that he's had at each place. And for him to be in, what year did you just do? Year 11?
11.
So just finished year 11 and had
12
and a half sacks.
He keeps
I don't
filling in
really-
the blank before you get to it.
It's
He's my
probably
wingman.
a handful.
Yeah.
Probably only a handful of guys that have been 10 plus years in the league and get 12 plus sacks. And, that's just consistency and trusting his process, his routine. And I know his body doesn't feel the same as it does back in year one, but, that just shows how much he's grown just mentally, just understanding the game.
Did what you did this year surprise you?
No. I surprised everybody else, but this is something that I've worked on my entire career. And then I think playing with players like him, Roquan, Nnamdi, Madubuike on defense, just those type of guys, and just want to continue to help them and help this group out. I really love this group. I view them as like little brothers, that one day when I'm done, I'll get to see them still playing at a high clip. But wanting to them get to this game is something that they deserve. They work really hard. We just got to take it up another level. We really do. The last two exits we've had, the last two seasons in the playoffs aren't fun. They're not like us either, which is, it sucks to say, but we all as leaders got to take it on the chin and, have a conversation and really get back to, hey, like, what do we need to do as a group, like this core, go to the next level? And, I think it's going to be uncomfortable conversations. We're going to have them, but I think we'll be better once we do.
It's an uncomfortable sport. There's a lot of shit you have to confront on a regular basis about realities of, look, Mark Andrews is one of the best players at his position in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking when a guy who seemingly, I don't know him well, gives as much as he does and he has to play at the end of the game. How do you respond to that, having played on teams in 16 and 17 in New England that had very different outcomes in the biggest and most important games? Can you lend any kind of perspective to, even though he's a veteran guy?
My thing back to it is we didn't do enough defensively at the beginning of the game. We pride ourselves that if you don't score, you don't win. And we didn't do a good enough job in the first half, and we created a hole with the team aspect of, turnovers and then us not doing our part. I think it's just being able to correct those wrongs and, like I said, have the uncomfortable conversations and then get back to work. Work, but do it smartly, do it intently, and I think we'll do that.
There's so much more I could ask both of you guys, but I did just get the high sign from our folks at Bounty who've been wonderful all week long to us and providing us opportunities. If you're going to have gumbo, and this is the Jumbo Gumbo ladle,
That is Jumbo Gumbo for sure.
you would need Bounty to clean up. I want you guys to both fish out a ball, tell me the number I'm going to pose to you an irrelevant question from the Jumbo Gumbo.
Do I need to use the
I
spoon?
don't want
Okay.
your germs in there in the gumbo. I really don't. I mean, I'm sure you're a tidy guy, Notre Dame and everything.
All right. 27.
27, that's Carlton Fisk. I'm a little bit old if I'm using 27 as Carlton Fisk. Your dream Super Bowl halftime performer, dead or alive.
I like that.
I do you were.
Ooh,
That's a great
question.
Whoever did those.
That is a
Good job.
great question.
Kevin, finally. Kevin Miller. Kevin Miller.
My dream Super Bowl performer at halftime, Michael Jackson. I mean,
Okay, he's going with the dead guy.
I wasn't alive for it. I know it already happened, but
Oh, yeah, he did.
He
But
did.
No, bring him back
Bring him back.
with the holograms and everything.
Yeah.
Do you want a shot at that one, too, or do you want your very own? Okay.
No, I'll leave that to him.
Number
a
14,
good
is that
number.
Kyle Hamilton's number?
14, let's go.
Nice.
Why do I know
Hey,
so
Ham.
much about this kid?
No, you should.
He's one of my favorite players. Which at 57 you shouldn't
Put
have.
the glasses on.
Oh, you're going to like this one. Memorable poster you had as a kid. Now,
Ooh,
Mrs.
I like
Van
that
Noy's
question.
right over there, so you can't say the Farrah Fawcett 1977 bathing suit poster. But again, I'm dating myself. Who do you got?
I had two. One, Allen Iverson. That's why I wore number 3 growing up. Loved Allen Iverson. He's why I grew out my hair when I was younger. I did get in trouble, so I couldn't get the braids like him. I would have had my mom
You
do
were
the
that
same
close?
thing. I was close. I'd have
What did
my
you
mom
do?
At the game.
What did you do?
I can't tell you. I had Allen Iverson, and then next one's Michael Jordan. Yep.
The jump man?
The Michael Jordan, yep. Jumpman. I had a Jumpman and Michael Jordan, like the dunk where he.
I had that too,
He
where
was
it's like this.
He was running. He
And
was
he's got the
running.
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty sweet.
All right. Kyle Van Noy, Kyle Hamilton, Bounty paper towels. You guys get to keep these?
I believe so.
Yes.
Oh, nothing but thumbs up
2
from the Bounty
years in a
people.
row too. Yeah.
All right, well, hopefully you're busy.
Going on 3 maybe, but hopefully we're busy.
Hopefully you're busy. All right. So good to see you, my friend.
thank
Take care. We didn't even get to the golf. We'll do that sometime in the off season.